So before we start this review off, I want to say this is the PC version of Quantum Break. So some things which I say in this review might not be the case for the Xbox One version. Just letting you guys know that. So Quantum Break is the first ever game to mix a TV show and a game together, and it actually does it in quite well as to an extent. The motion capture in the game are some of the best ever. It's up there with Rise of Tomb Raider, even possibly Halo 5. It's really awesome. It's really weird when you move from the game to the TV show and you can instantly recognize people. It's really quite cool. The voice acting is top notch. It's really awesome in the game, and I have to say that it's probably one of some of the best out there, and it contributes a lot since they're using a TV show aspect as well. But aside from those aspects, the game as a whole kind of lets down. So the game is split into acts and episodes. So if you don't know what that, basically the acts are the gameplay, whereas the episodes are the TV show. But the game, for some fucking reason, decides that when you complete an act, it will show you that you've completed an act with a wee title on the screen with rock music saying something along the lines of Act 1 complete. And then you have to click a button saying continue in order to start up the TV show, since basically the game is kind of like gameplay, then TV show, then gameplay, then TV show, then gameplay, then TV show, and then gameplay. So you got 4 acts of gameplay and 3 episodes of TV show. Now, the reason why they did this doesn't sound that big to begin with, but when you play the game, it's actually really fucking annoying. How they want to shove in end of Act 1 or end of Episode 1. It's really annoying since it's really built upon its storyline and its immersiveness. And when you're playing through the game, you're immersed into the world. And then all of a sudden, some strange ass rock music starts playing with the title, with the words end of Act 1. Which kind of breaks your immersion. And I think I know the reason why they did this. Because it doesn't just straight up move on to the episodes, or the TV show, or the gameplay. You have to actually click a button in order to do that. And I think I know the reason why. I think the game developers were kind of like, let's ask the player if they wanted to go to the toilet or go and get a sandwich or something before continuing to play the game. Because the game is actually really fucking short. So, altogether, the game is around 6 hours long. That's including the TV show. If you remove the TV show, it could possibly well be, for gameplay wise, 4.5 hours or 5 hours max of gameplay. You're paying £44 for this game, which you want to play and experience the new mechanics and stuff of Quantum Break and the story. And then you only get 4.5 to 5 hours of gameplay, and the rest is just sitting there watching. Like, don't get me wrong, the TV show aspect is actually really well done, and it's really good. But the thing is, I kind of want to play the game more than I want to watch it. And because there's not that much to do in this game. You have the story mode, the campaign, and that's it. That's all there is. So if you only have 4.5 to 5 hours long of gameplay, there's not really much there in order to keep me playing. Now the gameplay for Quantum Break, without all of its time abilities and all those cool things which Quantum Break has, without all of that stuff, is essentially a watered down version of Rise of the Tomb Raider. it's the same buttons, and it even has the same mechanic when it comes to, for Rise of the Tomb Raider, it's like a hunting mode where you have to stand still and then everything goes grey, and then you can see yellow things point you into where objectives are, or red when there's enemies. And it's the same thing for Quantum Break. It's mapped to the same button, it does the exact same thing, and if you move it stops working. But the reason why I say watered down version is because there's two aspects which just does not work. First of all, there's a really awkward cover system in this game where you walk up to a cover and it looks like that you're actually getting into cover because the character bends down and he looks like he's behind the cover, but there's no feedback and it doesn't feel like you're in cover, and because of this you get shot up like a shithead. And the second point is, this is actually probably why it's a watered down version of Rise of the Tomb Raider, is that there's no melee button. There is no melee button in Quantum Break. The only thing you can do is fucking shoot people. It's just a shooter. That's all it is. And even then, every other shooter's got a melee button. Call of Duty, Black Ops 3, Halo, Rise of the Tomb Raider, just Gears of War. They all have melee buttons, so why the fuck does Quantum Break not have it? And you end up going into being in situations where a guy is right up next to your face and you can't do jack shit about it because you have to reload your weapon. So the special abilities which your character gets are pretty damn sweet. One of them lets you basically teleport. The other one basically is able to put down a massive bubble shield from Halo and, like, you know, block all the shots. Another one, you're able to basically stop time around the enemy, and then you can start shooting into it, and then when that ability runs out, all those bullets that went into the wee bubble which stopped time, they instantly all just start flying to the guy's face, and they die in some of the most awesome ways possible. And there is, of course, this ability which allows you to basically slow down time and allows you to run faster. And in this mode, you're actually able to melee someone. So when you're running towards a character, you have to be looking at them, and then a wee button would appear above their head, B, for my case, and you have to click that button in order to do a melee attack. The thing is, that button is mapped also to the fucking bubble shield, okay? So if you time it wrong, or if you just look away from your target for a second, you end up putting down that ability, which means you come out of the slow running ability, and you might get fucked by it. But even if you manage to activate that ability and actually straight up melee the guy in probably quite a really cool way, the problem is that it fucks up your camera like a dickhead, and if that wasn't enough, you end up being stranded out in the middle of the open like an absolute asshole, and you end up getting shot to shit. They could have done something really cool here where you're able to, like in Far Cry, where you're able to gain abilities in order to use, you know, in order to link different things together, such as you knife someone and then you take their knife out of their pocket and you throw it at someone else, you know, and do all that kind of things. But Quantum Break doesn't have that, which is funny to say because Quantum Break actually has an upgrading system. You can upgrade your character. The problem is here also is that you don't fucking know about it until you start to explore the world. Okay? If you don't start exploring the world and looking at different cracks and creases of the world, you will not be able to upgrade. It's simple as that. So the upgrade mechanic in Quantum Break is basically you have to find certain things in the world, and when you find them, it adds one. It lets you to have some crystal or something along those lines, and able to upgrade the abilities which you currently have. The thing is, you don't know that you can do this, and you have to fucking find them. If you don't want to find them, then you're not gonna have any of the upgrade abilities. Which is such a weird thing to do. It's such a weird design decision, not letting like how many kills you get and you can get to, you know, upgrade because you're getting some points, you know. Instead you gotta walk away from the action and try and find these things and you have no idea where they are. So the story for Quantum Break is essentially you go over to help your best friend out with this thing with a time machine which you didn't really know about, and then your brother comes in and says, no, don't turn it on, and then, you know, bad shit happens. And essentially the time is gonna come to a complete end, and you have to try and make sure that this does not happen. Now the story reminded me a lot, very heavily, of Time Splitters, due to the fact that Quantum Break is essentially about time travel, and Time Splitters is about time travel. It's just like, you get to a point in Quantum Break where you start going back in time, and you go to locations where you were at before, just that the previous year is in a different place, whereas the now you is here. And it's really like kind of mind-blowing in that kind of sense, and just thinking and knowing that the future me was always here and the previous me was and would never know about it. It's really quite cool. Now the game emphasizes about its times coming to an end by introducing a thing called stutters. Now stutters are basically when time actually physically stops, and only you and a handful of people can actually move around in it. And when the time stops like this, it looks fucking amazing. The animations look so cool, and you just kind of want to reach out and grab these particle effects, and it's really sweet to look at. But after saying this, we have to talk about the PC port. As of right now, I'm saying this right now, do not buy Quantum Break on PC. I've had multiple crashes with Quantum Break in some of the most weirdest places ever. Sometimes I might be looking at a wall, other times it'll be during a cutscene. Either way, it would crash, and it would always crash at that one specific place unless I had to fiddle around with the fucking settings.
Stop the fracture. I know we're meant to find it, and I know Monarch doesn't want us to.
And yet you're wearing their uniform.
I like the way their pants fit.
I agree.
Tried to create a cover to gather information. You've known about this for a few hours. I've been preparing for it for most of my life.
You weren't aware that William owned the place?
There's a lot I didn't know about Will.
We need to find your brother's countermeasure. And fast. Things will get worse as the fracture progresses. And Monarch will be turning Riverport over looking for you.
And because of the stupid ass crashing, I don't really want to play through the game again. And it's such a shame because the game has choices to be made. That's right. In the game, you can make choices which will affect the outcome of the story. Just before an episode would start, you play as the villain. But basically, all you do is you walk around and you go down some stairs or something, and then you choose what path you want to take. And you get to choose from two different paths. One could be, you know, murdering people. The other one could be, you know, talking and doing other stuff. And each one is going to affect the outcome in a broader scale. And when you choose one of them, it would play a different TV show episode. If you pick the one where they talked, then the episode would be different. If you pick the one where he basically interviews people or, you know, kills people, then the episode would be different, and it'll shape the story in a very different way. Now, I would love to have played through this again and choose all these different options to pick from, but the thing is, I don't really want to have to suffer through all these crashes again, because they were fucking annoying. Now this game does have its graphical glitches too, just like with Division, only this time it's much worse. The main one which I saw a lot of was objects in the environment would randomly stop reflecting light, so basically, you know, they turn black.
About time.
This note.
So, when you're exploring through the world, you're allowed to use your basically Rise of the Tomb Raider hunting version in order to find collectibles. And these collectibles could be audio logs or, you know, documents. Now the thing is, the documents, they add a new complexity to the story and they add more diversity there. But the thing is, if you don't really want to read anything when you're playing a game, you're not going to spend, you know, 5 minutes reading through a massive article, are you? And there's quite a few in each level. So like I said before, as a whole, the game is kind of disappointing. The mechanics are watered down version of Tomb Raiders. The abilities, they could have done so much more of them. It just kind of falls flat in its face. The constant crashing, the very short gameplay wise, and when you have a game which is supposed to have, you know, special abilities, superhero powers, and they don't really manage to, you know, they get them right, then you kind of fucked up. Like, yes, the abilities are cool, but once you use them once, they kind of become not really interesting anymore. They should have been something where you get to chain them or do those kind of great things. Oh, and a melee button, okay? And here's another point for you. Because there's no melee button, there's very little changes in the enemies. All of them are kind of the same. You have the generic guys that are easy to kill. Then you have, you know, the sponges, which usually carry around a shotgun or a heavy machine gun, which can take a fuckload of damage, and you'll be emptying like 10 mags into them before they die. The people who can, you know, move through the stutters because they're wearing special gear. Basically, they have the same weapons as everyone else, and they just use their abilities. They don't really use their abilities to an extent. It's just maybe like they teleport away somewhere and then they start shooting at you again. And it's kind of really repetitive in some ways. Then you have the other guy who basically is inside a massive robotic suit, and the only way you can kill him is if you shoot him in the back, which is actually really easy to do. There's no really variating between enemies. It's not like some can be melee and some can like charge at you with swords or you know, knives or something. It's all basically shoot them and they'll shoot you, and it gets kind of repetitive after the first few times. So for the final verdict of Quantum Break, for the PC version, is a 7 out of 10. Now I was considering giving it a 6 out of 10 due to the fact that, you know, it's kind of broken and there's not that much there to keep you playing. But the thing is, for me, it was way better than Halo 5 ever was. At least Quantum Break has maybe an hour of a TV show, whereas Halo 5 only had 4.5 to 5 hours of gameplay and then nothing else. The only problem with Quantum Break is that there's so much potential in there, but the thing is they kind of fall on its face at every single corner, and that is the gameplay, the mechanics, the fucking broken PC port, the glitches. Now as I said, this is the PC version, so things which I've said in this review might not be present in the Xbox One version. The only thing I know that's present in the Xbox One version is that the game is limited to 720p, whereas, you know, on PC you can go further than that, depending on the power of your computer. The game as a whole might not be broken on the Xbox One, but it'll still have the same problems which I currently have. So everyone, thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next review. Bye bye!